Alrighty, baddies, we are back with another episode of Three Girls, One Track. Just a
Hey.
producer's note to start off. Your girl's been very busy, so I may not have edited and posted our last podcast yet. So if you're just clicking onto the page and clicking latest, expecting it to be Jeddah, it's not Jeddah. It is Miami that we're talking about. So go back and look at Jeddah that I will have posted right before I post this one.
Okay.
Anyways, this week was the Miami GP. Meow, meow, meow. As always, I love to start off with a little anecdote from my time watching F1 in person with other people. I didn't realize that DC was a Lando Norris city, apparently.
Is it?
So many Lando Norris fans at this event I went to. Me and my friend were looking at each other like, we're in enemy territory.
Wait, were you at that
Yes.
F1 bar again?
I wasn't at the yes, I was at the F1 watch party, not at the F1 arcade, to be clear.
Okay.
It was spooky. I was in enemy territory.
To be honest, I actually do think Lando has he's sort of taken over the Daniel Ricciardo, so
yes,
he has a lot of American fans.
Yeah,
I can
and
agree
I need
with
them
that.
to realize. I need them to come to the front and realize what's going down.
I was actually kind of surprised there were quite a few watch parties here in Houston. There were a few watch parties that were here. I didn't go to any, but they weren't like your typical, like, oh, we have a watch party for every race event. It was just sort of Miami, let's watch. I think like Pickleball Social had one, like all these different places that don't normally do them. I was just kind of surprised to see how many popped up.
It's infecting. It's taking over.
It is. We'll see what happens for Austin.
Yes, but we're going to kick into high gear with our news. I realize we also didn't do intros. This is your podcast host, Afsa.
This is Felicia.
I'm Beks.
Fantastic. So now we can hop into news. First up is congratulations to new mother Kelly Piquet and new father Max Verstappen.
Baby
Kelly's
Lily.
been a mother, but hashtag mother ×2. Happy Mother's Day to Kelly Piquet.
Oh yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there.
Yes. And their baby is named Lily Verstappen. Very cute. No middle name. Just Lily Verstappen. Adorable.
Listen,
I have to say,
he couldn't think of anything to follow up a million.
And you don't need it, I do have to say, we have continued the trend of all of Max's dependents, his pets and his children, being named. Sorry, not being named after, because I don't want to put that on him and Kelly. Sharing a name with a Monaco nightclub.
Oh, there's a Monaco nightclub named Lily?
There's a Monaco nightclub named Lily. He has a cat named Sassy, also named after a Monaco nightclub. And he has a cat named Jimmy, also named after a Monaco nightclub. So people were laughing because they were like, oh, what? Is Max going to name his kid after a Monaco nightclub? And then they were like, Lily Verstappen. And everyone was like, oh. Okay. But
also, how many nightclubs are there in Monaco that have people names? What?
I don't know.
That's quite
enough to name two pets and a child.
Right. Anyway,
in that tiny ass sound. So but very exciting. We love it. Hashtag babies are cute. Next up for our piece of news, Cadillac had a Miami event. And so there was a lot of press news. Their name was in a lot of people's mouths. And the tea is that Checo has basically been confirmed by Cadillac. Now, Checo has also apparently been in talks with Alpine, which is crazy to me that man would want to go join Alpine, but he's supposedly been in talks there. All of that to say, we don't know where Checo's going, but it sounds like he's basically all but signed on the dotted line for Cadillac.
Interesting.
And his number 2 appears to maybe be Mick Schumacher. Bernie Ecclestone said Mick Schumacher would be a good fit. I don't know what Bernie got to do with this. I don't know if
Bernie
he's a part
is who
owner,
again?
if he's just yapping. The old owner of F1.
Heard.
Like, I don't know if he's just yapping. Who knows? But I I think there are other rumors that like Mick would fill the same kind of spot that Zhou Guanyu fills, you know, like very nationalistic, brand sponsored boy. Like, I was happy to see either of them there, me personally.
I think Mick would be interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing him there, but I do feel like there are better drivers who don't technically have a seat.
Listen, I think we have seen what focusing all of your driver efforts on good drivers has done for society and done for F1. And the answer is boring ass races. Get Mick Schumacher's ass back on that grill.
Well,
grid. I want him back on that grid.
Just causing
F1
chaos.
was good when he was on that grid.
Uh-huh.
We had a good few years when he was there. And it was so good.
What, you want Nikita Mazepin back?
No, because Nikita Mazepin has other issues besides him being a bad driver.
That is true.
No.
I want Nicholas Latifi and Mick Schumacher's asses back on that grid. And I stand 10 toes down on that. Put them both in the Haas.
I don't really know Latifi that like you see like I think 2 glimpses of him in DTS, and then I did. Okay.
Well, you saw a very, very infamous glimpse of him actually in DTS. His car slamming into a wall.
Yes, I did see that.
The incident.
Yeah. We're just not going to talk about it.
The race who shall not be named.
Yep.
In this family. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Checo back on the grid. Maybe.
Y'all are so annoying sometimes.
What?
Anyway, continue.
What did we do?
Listen, it is what it is. I just thought I'm looking forward to Checo being back. If Mick comes back, that's great. I love seeing hot men on the grid. It's one of my favorite things. So Mick, you're welcome. Right back where you belong.
Okay.
Next up, in fun, funky news, Franco Colapinto, hashtag 100% replacing Jack Doohan. As we all knew, Jack Doohan had 5 races to his name guaranteed, and to none of our great surprises, Franco is replacing him after 5 races. After 6 races, I think 6 races. What is confusing and surprising to me, apparently Franco also signed a 5-race contract.
But yeah, I saw that and I was confused. So I was like, so what are you guys going to keep doing? Just switching them back and forth every 5 or so races?
Yes.
I don't know.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like they're basically giving them 5-race stints and then they get to like extend them race by race or pick the other one.
That seems...
Which is so interesting to me because it's been well established before in F1 that having 3 drivers on your team doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not a good idea.
That seems... Well, I mean, to be honest, that's probably why they're in the position that they're in right now, which I'm sure we're going to talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But
we're actually going to talk about it immediately.
Okay, great. Perfect. Works
so when it was announced that Franco Colapinto was replacing Jack Doohan, very shortly before this was announced, it was announced that Oliver Oakes, the Alpine principal, was leaving effective immediately, and that he would be replaced by Flavio Briatore.
Wow.
Couple things to know about this situation. One, it was presumed, because Oliver Oakes outright said it, that Jack Doohan would not be getting replaced. Oliver Oakes outright said Franco Colapinto will not be replacing Jack Doohan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was quickly kiboshed, so clearly he wasn't in the loop. Also, other crazy thing, do you guys know who Jack Doohan's manager is?
Who?
Flavio Briatore.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the man who just kicked him out of the team. Well, kicked him out of the seat, I said. He's still the reserve driver for the team, so.
But didn't they have like this whole like discussion and like Jack walked into the boardroom and it was this whole big thing with him and Flavio and DTS?
Yes.
So what was all that about if you're still going to kick him to the curb anyway?
He doesn't care about that man.
Clearly.
He doesn't care about him.
Continue, sorry.
Now, important thing, and I don't know how much either of you have been looking into the Oliver Oakes situation.
Not at all. Inform me.
So, a couple of days before Oliver Oakes resigned as the F1 Alpine team principal.
Did he really resign?
Well, that's what I'm going to talk about, because it came a couple of days after his brother William Oakes was charged with transferring criminal property. William Oakes, 31, was stopped in Silverstone Park area in a possession of a large amount of cash. Okay, now, note, William Oakes, Oliver Oakes' brother, is the director of High Tech, which is a junior F1 feeder series situation. And what I really want to hit into here is what's the best way to go about this without saying things that are potentially liable and able to get us sued?
Allegedly.
It is said allegedly that there is involvement in High Tech from the Mazepins.
You've got to be kidding me.
Famous Russian oligarchs.
Wait.
Yes, I am being entirely serious. So High Tech is, I should say, High Tech was previously partially owned by Dmitry Mazepin, father of Nikita Mazepin.
Okay.
Who has close ties to Putin. So there is some speculation that potentially William and Oliver were doing some shady business
with the Mazepins?
With the Mazepins, with Russia, with all of that. Now, who knows? Oliver Oakes owned High Tech. He created their thing. The shares were originally owned by Mazepin's company. They were transferred during the whole initial start of the Russia-Ukraine war. But it is, a mixy business. High Tech apparently tried to go join F1 in 2023. They tried to make a bid to join in 2026 in 2023.
As a team?
Yes.
Okay.
And had received new investment from Kazakhstan's richest man.
Oh.
So there's a lot going on there.
Who is that? Let's find out.
Lots going on there. But yeah, you can read more about it in The Athletic, which is basically the New York Times, but for sports.
I did not realize how in deep this Oliver Oakes situation was, which makes a little bit more sense about why he got...
Oh yeah, Oliver Oakes has also supposedly fled to Dubai. To add that to the list.
But it also still does not excuse what Alpine did.
Yes, they're doing a lot with this whole situation, but there were also rumors that Oliver Oakes might replace Christian Horner at Red Bull. I don't imagine that's happening with Oliver Oakes fleeing the country.
No.
But
the man is literally on the run.
Maybe.
But we had
allegedly on the run.
We've had a F1 team principal on the run before.
That is true. That is true.
Wait, Flavio?
No,
VJ.
One.
The Indian guy from BWT.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Peace and love him.
Yep.
I totally forgot
Force
about
India,
him.
there we go. I'm sorry.
And same team, right?
What? Oh,
Racing
it is!
Force India turned into Racing Point. No.
No.
Force India turned into Racing Point, turned into Aston Martin.
Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're thinking of the BWT sponsorship, which Alpine also
that's what always trips me up.
Gotcha.
Okay. That always trips me up.
They just have the same sponsor.
Yeah, okay. So this is... But you know what? This is the type of drama Well, let me tell you. The Oliver Oak situation, just by itself, this is the type of drama you're not going to find in basketball or football. Only F1 can bring you collusion with Russia and oligarchs. God bless F1.
They have no checks and balances, and that's what makes being a part of this sport impeccable.
Truly.
Come on.
Truly.
Yes.
Truly.
I also have another piece of news that honestly I forgot to write down, but I was reminded while I was researching on the Oliver Oakes news.
Go ahead.
I feel like, I can't remember if we talked about this last time, Carlos Sainz Sr. is making a bid for FIA president. And I have to say, I am livid. And the reason why...
Livid or living?
Livid.
Okay.
Here's why.
Okay.
The FIA launched an investigation into Susie Wolf.
Yes.
For the crime
Yep.
of being employed at Formula One / within the FIA. Can't remember which one, but I believe it was literally just being employed in Formula One. And being married to Toto Wolff.
Yep.
They investigated her for that crime. And you want to tell me that it's viable for a driver's father to be head honcho of the governing body?
Come on.
So when I saw this piece of news come up, I was like, oh yeah, that's not happening. I was so shocked to see so many people were like, yeah, this would be such a good idea. Meanwhile, the same people were giving Susie hell about, oh, well then Toto will have to sell his interest in the team. There's no possible way that she can do it. I'm like, y'all just have some deep-seated issues to the point where you'll find it okay for a father to be the head of the governing body of F1, but not a wife.
And here's my thing. Here's the thing that pisses me off. Susie, who has gone on the record as calling her husband an idiot on multiple occasions.
Sure has.
Said that man's dumb as fuck.
Yep.
Multiple occasions.
Damn.
You think that she would collude with her husband more than the man who pays media sources to push positive press about his son? The man who I, very allegedly, think paid EA Sports to boost his fucking F1 2025 rating? Because he lined those checks.
When I saw that video of those scores, I was like, there is no way y'all can be serious.
No, exactly. So we all know, allegedly, that Carlos Sainz Sr. paid F1 EA Sports to boost that man's score. He regularly pays the press to run positive press about his son. Clearly. That man basically lines the pockets of every single news source in Spain. Yep. We know this. Allegedly.
Yep.
And you want me to believe that he wouldn't benefit the rules to benefit his... Are you crazy?
That's the first thing he's going to do.
That's the first thing he's going to do.
That's the first thing he's going to do when he gets there. You can bet the first year that he is the head of the FIA, Carlos will win. He will be a champion.
All of a sudden, it's going to be allowed that you can overturn time penalties, and all of a sudden, Carlos's are all going to be overturned. Like
retroactively.
Exactly. Like, please be so for real, okay? Please be so for real. I don't think that he should be the FIA president while Carlos is there, the same way that I guess Susie might collude with Toto, and so you have to have checks and balances. But Fred is a member of the the governing rules-making, decision-making body or whatever.
Fred
Vasseur.
Is
team principal, yes. And it's not like all the team principals are on that board.
Right.
Fred is. And so that's why
it's only Fred.
I don't know if it's only Fred, but it's definitely not all of them. Like, it's not like it's a board made up of the team principals.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, guys, there's already so little checks and balances.
I have a question
you either believe in checks and balances or you don't. And y'all clearly don't, so let's just keep pushing.
I have a question about the governance of F1. How the hell does it actually work?
It doesn't.
Girl, that's too loaded of a question for this time.
It doesn't. The answer is it doesn't.
Because there are all these different boards and committees and shit that y'all pop up with. I'm like, what do they do? And
think of it like Congress. Think of it like Congress. I'm being so for real. Think of it like Congress.
I know you are.
There's various different committees, various different boards, there's various different caucuses. Mm-hmm. And in the end of the day, there you go.
Somehow it all works together cohesively.
Does it work together cohesively? Question.
I'm about to say that's not what she said.
Questionably. But, yes. At the end of the day, it continues operating and governing over F1.
It keeps moving forward.
That's not what she said.
I know. I keep trying and it's just not it.
It continues being established.
It continues.
It continues being present in life.
Okay. It exists.
But that's all my news. Does anybody else have any other fun, funky news that I missed?
Fun, funky. I don't have any fun or funky.
Fun, funky, hip, and fresh.
Yes. All right, then we can keep it pushing.
Yeah.
So, listeners, as I'm sure you remember, over the past couple of weeks, we have been very disgruntled with the fashion presence inside the paddock, and this week is no different. I actually didn't see a single thing. The only man who wore anything worth mentioning was Pierre Gasly, and I don't even want to talk about it. So, we're just going to talk about the liveries and team kits, the special ones, that popped out at Miami.
Love it.
So, up first...
Before we jump into it,
yes.
One thing I want to say is, I understand that America is not held in high esteem when it comes to F1.
Oh,
but I need everyone to be so effing for real. Why are y'all coming to the States and pretty much putting on costumes, aka regular American wear, and just making it like it is the weirdest thing.
What is the novelty of the Americas for them? I don't understand, because they do this with Texas too. Beks, you mentioned it when they were at CODA last year, that basically they just cosplay as Americans.
And I love it.
Yeah, so it's just something like, I don't know, everyone wants to play Miami Vice, or bring out their floral.
Not play Miami.
But it's something about America. It's something in the water. I don't know. Once they hit the airspace over America, they all of a sudden want to act up. And
I was watching one of the TikTokers, and they're just like that over there in the EU. They're just fascinated by just the America of it all.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Miami liveries with Mercedes. Miami. Do we need a refresher, ladies?
No, I remember it.
Okay, it was horrible.
Burned in my eyeballs.
Oh, it was bad.
Well,
was pretty bad. I think for me, the biggest issue was the clash of colors.
I agree.
Well, and the florals.
Well, here's my thing. They look like a Kotex pad design.
Oh,
That's what they look like, actually.
They look like a Kotex pad design, which is fine.
That is freaking hilarious.
But that's okay. It happens. It just upset me. Also, because it didn't look Miami. It just looked like a Kotex pad ad.
Hold on, because I need to
except for the palm trees. They tried to act like palm trees are all that it takes to make something look Miami.
No,
and they shouldn't have done the dark plum. Like, this orangey pink is plenty tropical.
Yes,
and if they had done that with the white and the black, I think I would have been like, okay, whatever. I think it still looks ugly, but I understand what you're going for. I don't know why they did this plum.
I don't.
And
the thing is, I almost want to like the color scheme.
I actually like the colors, not together though.
It's a coat.
That might be what it is. That might be what it is, though, that I like all of these colors individual. Well, the standout colors, the pink and the plum. I like them individually as colors, but you're right. I just don't like them together.
Mm-hmm. I actually like the helmet. The helmet, or
I think their individual helmets are fine because
both of them were pretty,
because they separate out the issue, which is they don't do the mixed plum and orange. George does the orange, you know?
And then Kimmy had the plum.
Exactly, like that makes it fine. But they wanted to blend them on their race suits, and I'm like, why didn't you just give George the orange race suit and give Kimmy the plum, or vice versa?
Yep.
But of course not. Next up, we have Ferrari with their all white and blue suits.
No. I don't like it.
Okay. With their all white and blue suits and then their red and white and blue livery. I think now that I'm saying it out loud, I realize that making it a red, white, and blue livery was potentially purposeful. I thought it was just ugly.
That's how I took it, that they came to America and intentionally put a red, white, and blue livery together.
I didn't take it that way until this exact moment when I said those colors together.
No.
Until she said it.
The second I saw that big old blue, I was like, oh.
No, because technically their car is every race day red, white, and blue. Because they have that stupid HP logo on it and that white block under
Yeah.
the...
So
but it was them making the blue so prominent when they were coming to the States that made me be like, oh.
I think they missed an opportunity to do like a white livery with the HP.
I agree. I think that they should have been a white
That
car.
could have been cute. That could have been cute.
And it just seems like, I understand that red is their color, but they have in the past like done an alternate livery that doesn't have red in it, haven't they? Or am I?
I think they've done ones that have lots of other like colors prominent, but I don't think they've done one that has no red.
Okay, maybe
if I recall.
But I don't know. I just feel like there was a chance to do something cute and like,
but no,
maybe not cute, but something nice. And I just feel like Ferrari completely missed the mark. And I think that Ferrari, looking back on it in like 10, 15 years, this HP logo business, this HP sponsorship is going to be what is going to, because it's so ugly.
I also just don't understand why they insist on doing this blue thing. When it's like, I get that blue and HP is like a big part of their brand. When I think of HP, I like outside of F1, because F1 has seared that blue circle into my brain.
Same.
I don't think of the blue circle. I think of the letters HP. In that line style. So I feel like they could have easily had it in white, plastered it all over the car, and I've been like, okay, HP owns this car. Like, I would have gotten it just as much without the horrible blue.
Think of blue when it comes to HP, except for Ferrari.
Exactly.
I just think that it's just so bad. The logo is so bad. And this livery just made it stand out even more. So that's why I think it's frustrating.
Agreed. Up next, we've got a team that killed it. Understood the assignment and came to Miami to be Miamians, which is V-Carb. Stunning, girly pop Barbie, hot pink. Very Miami, very Malibu Barbie, but if she was East Coast, it was glorious. I think the whole thing was great, top to bottom.
10s across the board.
Yes.
The car, the race suits, the team kits, the helm, all the above, yes.
I will also call out, special mention is Kick Sauber, because they did like a slime splatter thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like for Miami's art scene, but I also think it could be like a cool Nickelodeon shout out because they're in Florida. That wasn't their intention, but like it could be, you know.
It could be.
Could be.
An accidental ode.
Yes. And I'd like to give a specific driver shout out and a driver neg because I can't help but get a jab in. Driver shout out, Alexander Albon. With his little orange helmet.
Yeah.
For him being a little orange. I thought that was very cute for the Sunshine State and the Florida oranges and da-da-da-da.
That was very cute.
Not a neg, literally, on the driver, but I thought it was very funny to point out. Which was Lando in this disco ball helmet.
Oh my god.
It was so bad.
All this made me think of when I saw his disco ball helmet was Lewis's like sparkle helmet that he wore, I think last year, like the chrome one that he wore to Singapore, I want to say.
Was it?
That was all that it made me think of.
Oh god.
And
I just cackle at when he blinded himself with his
that
own
was really
helmet.
funny. Blinding himself was really, really funny.
It's just like, sir.
Yeah. But that was the liveries. We wish they gave us real fashion, but they didn't.
You gotta take what we can get.
You gotta take what you get. And we can get right into race weekend, guys.
It's
another
Japan.
sprint race. Oh my god, wait. Guys, I'm so sorry.
Huh.
I completely forgot one of our news pieces.
Oh, I know you forgot. I literally just saw it.
Same.
As you said stop.
I completely forgot, and I'm going to throw it in.
Even mention that?
We do have to throw it in because I think it's really fun and cool, which is Max Verstappen tested an endurance car at the Nürburgring. Famously, the Nürburgring is an insane racetrack. I beg both of you to go look it up.
Okay.
70 turns.
What?
Yes, 70.
It's called the what?
Nürburgring.
Okay. And you are an ER.
N-U-R Burg Ring. Like Burger Ring. insane track, like so dangerous that they don't let F1 race there anymore. It is such a cool track though, and Max raced under like a fake name, Franz Hermann. And I don't know why he did a fake name. Literally, the second he settled the track, everybody knew it was him.
Everyone
let the press know.
Knew it was him,
and it was so funny because he kept his helmet on and was like walking past, and they were just like Max, and it was but yeah, and he set a lap record.
Hell?
I think he set a lap record on his first lap out.
What the fuck?
Yes, Nürburgring is insane. But I say all this to say, wow, yes, correct. Listeners,
what kind of track is that?
I know. Look up F1 Nürburgring, because I think it'll be insane to watch F1 cars go around that track. But I just wanted to mention that because...
Have they ever gone around? This was an F1 track?
This was an F1 track, yeah.
I think I looked it up. It looks like it was one until 2013.
Yeah. So that means Lewis has driven at that. Look up Lewis at Nürburgring or something. It'll be insane, I'm sure. Okay, now we can actually get into racing. It's an extremely dangerous track.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess.
I think it's considered one of the most dangerous tracks F1 has.
I mean, I can see.
Oh yeah, they said he crashed and
he crashed. Yeah,
yeah,
and had to be stretchered off. So there you go.
Lewis?
Yeah.
My boy.
He was in McLaren.
Yeah.
That was
during his McLaren era.
God damn.
Right.
He's airborne.
Yes.
He was airborne.
Indeed he was. Note, if you go to the Formula One wiki, and you look up Nürburgring, top pages this week that comes up next to it is list of fatal accidents and then Max Verstappen. Ooh, so that lets you know the team. But
they say it's the most severe crash Lewis ever had.
Oh, that's where Niki Lauda had his crash.
Yes.
Oh.
Also note that the Nürburgring that you see when you look up Nürburgring and the Nürburgring they drove on F1 cars are two different race layouts.
Okay.
Just to be clear. So they weren't driving that big 70 turn one.
Okay.
The F1 one is 15 turns. And also, Max Verstappen also holds the track record there in an F1 car in the RB16, apparently.
Wait, I think at one point they were doing the big one.
Probably.
Because I looked at the race that
Niki
Lauda, and it said they only did 14 laps.
Yeah. There's a whole course one that they have used. It's rare, but they have used it. But yeah, insanity.
So this is the F1 one.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. But all right, we can get into it with the actual race. It was a sprint weekend, so it was a long ass weekend.
It was a long weekend.
It was a long weekend. I'm going to be real. I am with Toto Wolff in saying that sprint races really aren't that big of a deal to me. I love extra racing. Let the record show. I love extra racing.
But
I find issues with the sprint race always.
With just sprint races in general?
I find issue with sprint races because they don't do anything to make it different than the first stint of the race.
Yeah.
Like, they play out how you expect the first stint of the race to play out generally, and you are relying on a messy qualifying to give you drama.
Uh-huh.
Like, you're relying on random chance, and or you could mix it up. You could make it so that the sprint race is a shorter race. I get that they hate the reverse grids because it's gimmicky, but sprints are gimmicky too. You know,
what do you mean reverse grids?
You qualify in the reverse order. You start in the reverse order you qualify.
Damn.
Yes.
I
don't know the logistics of how you pull that off. Why would I, Max Verstappen, not just not set a time?
Exactly.
Or purposely slow down my car. And then is it just a race of who can go slowest? Because I think that's kind of interesting, but also why wouldn't I just drive my car super slow around the track? You know, what I'm talking about, where it's I think that it would be interesting. what they could do to make it different from just the first stint of the race.
Mm-hmm.
But all that to say, we had a sprint.
That'd be interesting.
It went fine. We had sub T in the sprint shootout. Beks, do you want to take the sprint shootout since you had feelings and notes about it?
Did I have feelings? Okay.
You had notes. You didn't have feelings. You had notes.
So, sprint shootout. What happened in SQ1? Oh, so SQ1, Bierman, Bortoletto, Yuki Tsunoda, Jack Ewan, and Stroll, obviously, were the first 5 out in SQ1. There was like some issues with drivers getting to the line to be able to set their like second time. I believe Ollie and Yuki actually couldn't make it to the line in time to beat the checkered flag. So basically they come out, they have to do, I guess it's like basically like a hot lap. Not a hot lap,
like an out lap.
There you go, sorry. And then they have to make it back to the
racing line.
Thanks. It's been a long day, guys. So they have to make it to the racing line before the checkered flag is blown. So even if it says 0-0, as long as you started your lap before, you're fine. That time will qualify as long as you don't do anything reckless on that lap. But Ollie and Yuki couldn't make it, so unfortunately,
because Max was supposed to go, but Max bailed out at the last second, and then Yuki couldn't go.
Yeah, and so this is the first time this season that Yuki didn't make it past Q1. And also, Jack Doohan seemed to have some issues with Pierre Gasly, and there was something about like the release, how they released them.
Yes, so basically what happened is Alpine wanted Pierre to go first.
Yes.
They wanted him to leave ahead of Jack.
Yes.
Jack had been ready to go. Pierre's side of the garage was not ready to go.
Yep.
And so they let Pierre out with like just enough time to make it to the line and start his lap, which inherently means if you let Jack out after him, Jack will not make his lap.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's like Jack was kind of like, I have been ready. I get that you wanted Pierre to go out before me, but like, given the option of Pierre goes up before me and only one of us sets a lap, or Pierre goes out after me and we both set a lap, but Pierre didn't go out in the order you want us to, why would you not let me set a lap?
Like, I think that was not very wise on Alpine's part, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I think Alpine just had a really...
Also, I liked Spicy Jack. Jack was not...
But I also think, I personally think Jack sort of knew his time was coming to it. And I felt like I really did, this whole race week, I felt like his frustration was kind of coming out.
It was very anxious this weekend.
It was sad for him, for our boy.
Sorry, but those are the 5 that I think really the only one that's kind of surprising was Yuki. And that's just because...
They did our boy dirt. Like, what did we do?
SQ2, Sainz. We lose Sainz, Lawson, Gasly, Ocon, and Hulkenberg. I really don't remember anything special happening in SQ2. Do y'all have anything?
No.
Do y'all remember anything happening here?
The middle session is always kind of a dud unless
that's what I find. It's always very dull
goes home.
These last few weeks.
I say goes home, gets out.
Yeah. And so SQ3, again, I think it really wasn't. It was basically the standard qualifying order that we've seen that we've seen the past few races, except for the fact that Kimi Antonelli was on pole. I believe he was the youngest pole sitter. I think Sebastian.
That man Vettel was born in 2006.
Yes. I believe Sebastian Vettel was
I'm so sorry. That boy is a
child. But yeah, Kimi beat him out by a few months, I believe. And so I was very excited to see young Sir Antonelli out there. And it was like, if I remember correctly, because my notes are a little lacking right here, but if I'm not mistaken, it was Kimi set his time first. And then everyone's like waiting. Okay, Piastri's gonna. I think we were. Well, let me not speak for anyone. I was assuming with Piastri, Norris, and Verstappen coming behind him, they were going to get down. I was so shocked to see all three of them all three of them not be able to beat his time. But I was very excited for him.
Mm-hmm. He was very happy.
I was very excited for him. Now, tragically for our boy, didn't amount to much in the sprint. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Ended right there.
Listen,
but
he
I will say
did his best.
The sprint was a mess.
So, listeners, in case you didn't watch the sprint, it was a wet weather situation. And it wasn't just a wet weather situation. They were drowning out there. They were soaked.
They literally had to stop the race.
Yes, they were so soaked, in fact, that our special boy, Charles Leclerc, didn't even make it to the formation lap of the actual race. Charles Leclerc was on his reconnaissance lap when he aquaplaned and crashed.
And on his reconnaissance lap.
It was so tragic. Because they put him on inters when they know damn well there is no reason to not just put that man onto wets for the reconnaissance lap. It's not like the reconnaissance lap is timed.
It's so funny when Lewis jumped. He's like, "You put me on inters?" And I'm like, Ferrari had no idea what they're doing. And then I forget. It's like right then when like Charles crashes, right? Or it's like they're like in succession of like here. At least the way I saw it was like Lewis's radio, and then I seen Charles crash. I was like, wow, okay. This team is a mess.
What is Ferrari doing? What are they actually doing?
But I mean, the whole Charles Leclerc crash brought out a red flag, which I think actually helped.
It did help. It did help because it gave them time for the track to dry up enough where being on inters was not like an objectively stupid decision. Because if they had kept him on those inters, which they would have,
Lewis would have been next.
It would have been over. Honestly, I think the whole grid probably would have been on inters. Honestly, because they love to be stupid like that sometimes, and then realize like one lap in, we need to change the wets. And I think it would have been bad. Well, one, we all know Lando Norris doesn't win this sprint race if the red flag doesn't happen. Because if Lando Norris goes out there on inters, he's off the track. We all know that wet weather does not agree with Lando Norris. So that's the first thing. We have a different race winner. I actually think Oscar or Lewis, honestly, handily wins this, assuming that Lewis doesn't crash that Ferrari because of aquaplanes.
Same.
Oh, God.
It's a mess. Lando, but thankfully really for everybody else, they red flagged the race. They have time to dry off the track a little bit. And we get Oscar, which I want to point this out because it's extremely important for something that happens in the race later. Oscar and Kimi have an incident at the first turn. Where Oscar is on the inside of Kimi, gives Kimi a little, what you gonna do? And Kimi ends up dropping back to, I believe, like 4th.
Yeah.
I want to note that Oscar did not get a penalty for this. And it was decided that that was fine. Oscar kept all his wheels on the track. All was well in the world. That is critical. For what happens in the race. Okay, I say this because your sister put a certain note in her race notes that I had to go in and correct because of the precedent that was set in this sprint race and in general.
Wait, what is the note? In the race notes or sprint notes?
Race notes. We'll get to it.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
We'll get to it. But I want to point that out.
Go ahead.
Anyway, I mean, the sprint was good, IMO. It was a lot of mess. I think the messiest things were that pit situation, the safety car, and the many infractions. Obviously, like, people crashed, Fernando, Sainz. Do we really care about them?
No, not really.
No. So, let's get into this pit situation, because truly heinous.
Go ahead.
We have Max coming into the pit. We have Kimi coming into the pit because the end times are upon us, and Max Verstappen is competing with an 18-year-old in a Mercedes. And they bring Max into the pits, and for some reason, Red Bull, I guess they went on Indeed, they had a staffing problem, and they typed in pit idiot. And they hired the first person to apply. Because that man holding the light, I didn't even see him look at the pit lane.
Nope.
I didn't even see him take a little glance. He was just looking at Max.
Mm-hmm.
He was just looking at Max. Maybe it was his first day on the job.
Are they done? Time to go.
Maybe it was his first day on the job. You know? No. In which case, he shouldn't be on the lights. Definitely he shouldn't be on the lights. He should be on the stopwatch if it's his first day on the job.
Something that doesn't involve directing the car.
But notably, F1 drivers rely on their light guy.
Yep, sure do.
Because they can't actually see who's coming in the pit lane.
Sure can.
The way that their mirrors are angled.
Mm-hmm.
And so Max leaves, and Kimi Antonelli is actively trying to come into his pit box.
Yes, which is right in front of
them.
Directly in front of
because Red Bull also couldn't pull it together last year and get the Constructors' Championship settled. And so Max crashes into Kimi Antonelli. Damages his front wing.
Yes.
Probably causes a little bit of damage to the back of Kimi's car.
Yep.
Gains a 10 second penalty for it. Kimi gets fucked with a drive-through, basically, because he can't pit because Max's physical car is in the way.
Uh-huh.
And now everybody's race is ruined.
Yep.
Because Red Bull decided to hire idiot light guy instead of using an actual professional for the job.
Red Bull, you disappointed. I saw that.
Pissed.
I was like, this is amateur stuff.
I was livid. I was angry. I was ranting, raving. Every Red Bull fan I know was having absolute head loss, the sights of which had never been seen. Because this is what's upsetting me so much this year. Pit stops were our thing. We were so Red Bull. We were so cocky about pit stops that we used to post videos of the pit team executing a pit stop in pitch black darkness and in zero gravity.
Yeah, they did do that.
That's how good the pit stops used to be.
I forgot about the zero gravity one.
Now, Ferrari has the top pit stops, and I think Red Bull is coming in fourth for pit stops.
Ain't that about it?
Pit stops and zero plans.
Clear house. I want everybody out. You know what happened? They got rid of the black guy. Everything went.
He retired and everything went to hell. Everything went to hell. He was keeping that garage together, apparently.
He was keeping everything together. And they couldn't do a damn thing without him. It's so sad.
It's a shame. Somebody get that man out of retirement.
Yes. Notably, because of Max's 10-second penalty, he finished last.
Yep.
So.
It's so funny because I'm like watching the race. I'm like, oh, because Max finished in what position?
Fifth,
fourth?
Maybe? Fourth, fifth? Something like that.
And then all of a sudden I just see him. I was like, what happened? I was like, dang, get that penalty.
And why did Max getting a 10-second penalty drop him down to last? Because, of course, oftentimes when God looks down at Miami and he sees Lando Norris not winning, he goes, everybody on earth is a child of God. And everybody who's a child of God deserves to have things come their way sometimes. And as God, I think the main time that Lando Norris should have things come his way is when there's an opportunity for a safety car and we are in the last laps of a Miami racing session. So, of course, a safety car has to happen.
Of course, naturally.
Which makes it so that Lando cannot be passed by Oscar. Fernando? After Liam crashed him out.
After Liam crashed into him.
And then didn't get a penalty. Oh, no, he did get a penalty. He eventually got a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
But upsetting to me, personally. Lando has won a second F1 Miami racing session under a safety car.
Sure has.
Must be nice.
Because
some people don't get those luxuries.
Okay.
Must be nice. But anyway, Lando wins the sprint. Oscar comes in second. Lewis comes in third. Love that for him. The way Lewis does not fuck with the sprint trophies is really funny to me. He never takes it from the guy initially. He always ignores it until absolutely necessary to grab it because he's leaving. It's really funny. And then I also saw a note from Beks that I thought was really funny, which was, if they mention this F1 movie soundtrack one more time.
Oh yeah, every time they showed up, what was it, Lisa?
Yes, because I think she's on it. Now I have to say, maybe I am just being myself, and I want only artists that I really, really care about on the
soundtrack.
First thing, I love Lisa dearly. Love my queen, Lisa. I feel like they could have put Jenny on. I feel like they could have put Jenny.
Who rather rock with Jenny?
Like Jenny. I feel like Jenny would have. They could have done a little something with Jenny.
You know,
this
that would have been
girl
cute.
Mantra, that flantra. Oh, just touched down in L.A. Like make up an L.A. Grand Prix. You know, like come on. They could have put her on, but that's okay. I accept it.
They went with Lisa. I actually
don't think Lisa's on the track. I think Lisa is just I'm not. Rose is on the track.
Rose,
because remember, Lewis was doing his Met Gala stuff with Rose.
Rose,
yes. We don't have time tonight. We will talk about the Met Gala next episode. We don't have time.
Okay,
we will discuss the Met Gala.
It's too long, and it's just.
But I have to say,
hey,
I am actually kind of excited for the F1 soundtrack. I admit, I wish they'd stop talking about it, but I am really excited. First and foremost, Lose My Mind was okay. It was written by Ryan Tedder, so I think it's one of those things that I just need to like have a listen to, and then I'll like it more. I just have my own personal issues with Doja Cat and her branding and messaging, and the fact that she said that she made sellout music and then stopped being popular and then went right back to her sellout music. This is why you don't call your music sellout music until after you're done making music. First rule of making music, all of your music is great and you love it until you're done making
until
music.
You're not making it anymore.
But they also have Ed Sheeran on there. We all know he's gonna eat. Okay.
Yep.
Rose, she's probably gonna eat.
Yep.
Burna probably gonna eat. Ray, definitely gonna eat. A Tiesto Sexy Red collab.
Oh God,
that's
get Sexy Red away from this. Oh, I can't stand that girl. Can't stand that girl.
I said that. At least I tried to be polite and say that's interesting.
Listen.
That's a choice. It's a choice.
Y'all are denying, not even denying. Does our girl Sexy have some problems? Maybe.
Get it sexy.
But
Get
the
it
bangers,
sexy.
her song with Bruno Mars, banger.
Trash.
Which what?
You had Bruno Mars.
Which one was that one?
Fat, Juicy, and Wet.
Oh my God.
I don't even gang.
My brain has been trying to forget that song.
Bruno.
That's why.
The children listen to you.
You filthy whore.
Hey. That good kitty, making my pet. It's a great song. It's a great song.
Pearls were clutched.
Okay. Well, you need to unclutch your pearls and unlock your hips. Maybe that will help you love the song more. Okay.
Anyway. But one thing, did y'all notice, and they mentioned, I think, during qualifying, instead of like the drivers' names above like the garages, they had like the artists on the they had an artist, on top of the garages. So that's why I think that's why I made this comment. Overall, I was just tired.
How did I miss that? I don't know.
They meant because it's not something you would see during a race. Yeah. It was mentioned during like one of the
pre-race or post-race,
pre-race or a sprint or whatever, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. No problem.
So it was just a lot. They were doing a lot the weekend.
But yes, so that's our sprint. Lando won under safety car, of course. Oscar came in second, and Lewis came third. I would say let's talk about qualifying.
But
I would argue we don't need to talk about qualifying.
I actually would prefer if we skipped over it.
Yes, we don't need to talk about qualifying. Lewis did dog shit. Max was on pole.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. We're all upset and disappointed.
God, I'm sorry.
Next up, I had to add in a segment because Beks somehow forgot it in her race notes.
I didn't forget it. I was going to talk about it, but
the drivers' parade, where they built them Lego cars. 40,000 bricks, 2-ton Lego cars that could go 20 kilometers per hour. The entire race footage is on the F1 YouTube. You've got to watch it. It's so much fun. I have never seen them all smile
so much. They had a wonderful time.
I think it's a TikTok. Lewis recording like his laugh. It's like it's like a gut laugh. I've never heard Lewis.
I've never seen him that happy.
He was laughing from his god. They were all so excited to see Max smiling. Even Alonzo is smiling.
Yeah, they were all so joyful. It was great.
He is a curmudgeon.
Yes. The main things I took away was I thought that Lewis and Charles desperately trying to win was really funny. The way that they asked like Lego guys, like, so is there like a power up mode? Is there like a quality mode we can hit to get some extra KPH?
You got DRS in this.
The one thing I did kind of take a look at to see who was driving, because only one driver
could drive
from a team could drive. So
didn't they say something about like the tallest one? Was that a joke?
It was a joke.
It was a joke. It was
Yuki
Oscar.
Was behind Max.
Yeah.
Was it Oscar or was it Max who made that joke? One of them did.
One of them.
I don't know, but like I saw the video of like Alex and Carlos arguing about who was going to drive. Like I just wonder like what went into like choosing who would drive over.
Yeah, it was really funny. I loved it. It was so great. I loved seeing them so happy.
I would like to see it run back for Coda.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Now
I think that was really cute though. That was adorable.
Agree. I have a question for the people, and it directly relates to our race, which we're about to start. My understanding is that Jack Doohan retired due to a puncture in the race, correct? Cool.
Yes.
Are we taking bets on if a Lego broke off of the car?
Bitch.
It wasn't sweet though.
To be honest, it was so funny. They asked Max, like, Max, what do you think about the Lego cars? Max was just sort of like, there's a lot of debris on the track. They need to clean it up. They're like, yeah. And he just kept repeating, there's a lot of debris on the track. I'm like, focus, Max. They're trying to talk to you about how fun and entertaining that was.
Max said, clean that shit up.
Max is like, we have to race in like a very short amount of time, and because they did crash into each other. I don't know if you mentioned.
Yes,
the Lego they crashed into each other
everywhere.
They like messed up so many of the cars.
Yep.
So there was a lot of Lego debris, but it might be interesting to see.
Next.
Well, they'll never mention it. No. But if we never ever get another Lego car parade,
we know what happened.
We may know why. Yeah. So
that's hilarious. There's a lot of debris.
Yeah, he mentioned like 2 times in his interview. He was like very adamant, like, yo, we're about to race, and there's a whole lot of things that could.
He said, that's cute, fun and games, hee hee ha ha, clean it up.
He's like, I'm enjoying myself, but if I get a motherfucking puncture because of one of these Legos, I'm suing.
Everybody's going down.
So, one thing for the race, beginning of the race, I noticed that Pierre started from the pit lane. Correct. Do you know why?
I believe that he had to do some Park Ferme shit to his car.
Yeah.
Well, that's usually the answer.
I don't remember what it was, but he had to change something.
Yeah, he had to. Something. Yes, because he had to be removed from Park Ferme because they changed his setup. Is the T?
Yeah. There you go.
A little intel. But yes, Gasly started from the pit lane. And then we start the race. And this is where I had to correct your sister, Felicia.
Oh, hell.
Because I see the note now.
Yes, because Beks decided to write that Max ran Lando off and Lando lost 3 spots. And it is time for us to talk about something that I would think that our resident lawyer actually knows a lot about. Which is setting precedent.
Okay.
Back in Jeddah, we had Oscar alongside Max.
Yes, we did.
Oscar was on the inside alongside him. Kept all 4 wheels on the track, and so it was deemed Oscar's good. It doesn't really matter that in the act of doing so, Max couldn't really be on the track. Oscar kept all 4 wheels on the track.
Oscar's not concerned about Max.
Right? Cool. In the sprint race, Oscar did the same thing to Kimi Antonelli.
Yes.
He kept all 4 wheels on the track.
Yes.
He put Kimi Antonelli off the track, but it was determined, hey, Oscar has all 4 wheels on the track. This is fine. He didn't push him off. He has all 4 wheels on the track. So when we come to the race, and Kimi even noted it in a post-sprint interview, where Kimi was like, now that I know when it's considered not pushing somebody off the track, let's go. I ain't pushing nobody off the track anymore. I'm keeping all 4 wheels on. You might go off the track, but my wheels will be inside. And that's exactly what Max did to Lando. Where it's like, you guys set the precedent. If our 4 wheels are inside the track, we're probably not going to get called on pushing somebody off the track. So I'm going to push him off the track, but keep my wheels inside, which is exactly what Max did. And then he didn't get a penalty for it because by their own precedent, which, mind you, I think is wrong. I think Max should have gotten a penalty for that. I watched the footage and went, oh, you pushed his ass off the track.
Yeah, no, Max pushed.
But I also thought Oscar should get a penalty both times. So I'm just like, you set the precedent that wheels on the track is what matters when you're talking about pushing off the track.
Yes.
And the drivers are now like, okay, cool, that we
like. If you really honestly expect for you to create a loophole that the drivers will not take, you're stupid.
Yes, exactly. So I do have to point out, Max, by the FIA standards, did not push Lando off the track.
Okay.
He merely was alongside him and won the traction battle.
It was a
lap 1 incident. Incident. Say. Lap 1, turn 1 incident.
I'm unconvinced.
You don't have to be convinced, girl. It's the precedent that they set. I'm also unconvinced. Let the record show. I also said I'm also unconvinced. Like, I agree Max should have gotten a penalty, and I think Oscar should have gotten a penalty both times Oscar did it. But he didn't. And that's why we're here today.
I mean, we know the FIA likes to play fast and loose with the rules. So.
Yes. And they've just created a nasty rule.
Nasty.
All right. Next up, we have Liam Lawson. Running Jack doing off the track.
Yes.
Actually, for real.
No, actually.
Like, for real. Jack retired because of a puncture based on his contact with Liam. Or a Lego piece. Who knows? Which brings out a virtual safety car.
Yes.
Which is so tragic. Now, as somebody with a good understanding of the history of safety cars in Miami and how they tend to favor Lando Norris, I was praying every single time a safety car came out because I was like, this is going to be the safety car. It gives him the race.
That clinches it for him.
And I can't have that. I can't, please. So that was physically painful for me. I mean, it was just retirement after puncture, after hit to the wall, after that.
How many cars actually finished?
15?
15? Okay.
I think 15.
At least we got the majority over the line.
Yes. So we have Jack Doohan out. Next, Ollie Bierman, power unit failure. He's out.
That thing just cut out. Just doof.
Yes. Gabriel Bortoleto also out. Rookies having a really bad race. Note, Liam Lawson will also get out. So we will have Kimi Antonelli and Hodger finish this race.
That's it.
The rookie, honestly, we can't even do a rookie review. That all of them are out. We don't even have a rookie review to do today.
We don't even have a rookie roundup for today.
So a lot of rookies just dead, done, over. I thought the race was good. I didn't think there was a ton of tea outside of the normal. We had, after that lap 1 situation, Max was ahead. We had Oscar, and then we had Lando, and then the other baddies carrying on in the background. And Lando manages to get after Max, but only after lap, was it 20? Max stays ahead of Oscar for a really long time.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, I love Oscar dearly. That rocket ship built by the devil, it should not have taken 20 laps to get ahead of him. And we know it was built by the devil because George was 26 seconds behind the McLarens at the end of the race. So we already know that we're at levels that are unheard of. And before anybody says that Red Bull dominance was close to this, Max's largest victory margin to a non-Red Bull car was 30 seconds, right? In a race where he started on pole and had clear air the entire time. The McLarens managed to pull 26 seconds off George after spending 1/3 of the race behind Max Verstappen.
Yep.
They would have lapped them if they had been first.
When you see the video from people in the stands of basically to actually show you the difference, you could have gone to the bathroom, come back down, eaten your hot dog, drank your drink, burger baby, in the time it took
for George to get there.
For George to get there. It is just it's what's the kid's name? Oscar
Max.
Then you're going. Then it's just like silent. Then everyone's just talking. Then you can sort of hear George in the background.
George coming up.
Like, well, but then you see, as soon as after George passed, then you start seeing them. You're like, okay, so
that's where everybody is.
Really, it's crazy.
But it was truly insane. But after that whole thing happens, which I feel like I'm technically obliged to talk about the difference between the way that Oscar decided to overtake Max and the way that Lando did. But honestly, because it was very different, and like F1 has released a whole video on like why Oscar won the race, which the TLDR of it is Oscar did not waste laps behind Max half-heartedly trying to overtake him.
Yeah.
He waited until he knew he could overtake him, and then he did it. Whereas Lando spent every single lap taking half efforts, losing time beefing with Max when he could have just waited until he could do it and then gotten past him. Which is the TLDR of what F1 said about it. I tend to agree with that assessment after watching the race. But at the end of the day, when the devil's on your side and you're in Miami, it's probably going to go the McLaren's way.
Satan.
Probably going to go to McLaren's way. It's sad, it's tragic, but nothing that we didn't expect. I do have to say, because I want this to be the last part of the race where we talk about McLaren, and then we can talk about Ferrari, and then we're, in the post race. I have to wonder when McLaren's going to make their decision
about
this whole driver preference, blah blah blah. Because how do they not realize that Oscar has Lando's number at this point? Like at Lando after Australia and the other one that like he did better than Oscar in. Like he was ahead of Oscar by like 15 points or something, right?
Yeah.
And then ever since then, Oscar's just been like
crushing.
Let's go. Hasn't Oscar won the last 3 races?
Something like that.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not saying it's a done deal.
Know.
We have almost 20 more races.
I think it needs to be done for Lando.
Here's what I think. I think they need to take it back to the Mercedes 2016 route.
Meaning?
She don't know. She wasn't there. She don't know.
No, I'm trying to figure out these drivers' names.
Lewis and Valtteri?
Lewis and Nico, girl.
Nico.
Oh, Nico.
Like, you just sort of let them take the reins. You don't put any preference over either one. And you tell them, listen, we still need to win this driver's championship. This constructor's championship. So y'all can't be taking each other out. But
horrible idea.
Race. Why is that a horrible idea? I think
listen. No. I want it to be abundantly clear.
I understand you want
for
it to be
racing purposes. That is the best idea. I agree that as a person who likes racing, that is objectively the best thing to do. I'm a firm believer every single team should do that, right? That was our beef with McLaren last season, was we were like, you're neutering Oscar before he can do anything, right?
Yep.
I agree that that's what they should do.
Okay.
I am saying that you shouldn't have used Mercedes 2016 as the example. You used a friendship, potentially romance, destroying year where they killed their entire team dynamic so bad that after Nico Rosberg, they had to bring in a man who would let them cuck him for 5 years.
Shut up.
In order to get the team dynamic back. I love Valtteri Bottas, okay?
How you gonna do Valtteri like that?
I'm pro cuck. You guys think I'm saying cuck is an insult. I love the cucks. I think they should have comfier chairs. I fully love that for them. I'm saying that you had to bring in a man who would let himself play second fiddle for 5 years straight, year by year contracts for 5 years straight. That is how firmly of a second position you had to bring in for years to get your house in order. You couldn't bring anybody that even sniffed a threat at Lewis to get your house in order. You think somebody else is going to repeat that? Absolutely not. Nobody else is letting that happen.
Okay, sorry.
If you don't leave my man Valtteri alone.
Once again, just because you guys are anti-cuck doesn't mean I am. I think cuck should have the plushest, most delightfully comfortable chairs ever. Ergonomic as hell. That's what I believe.
Continue, please.
It is what it is. All right, our next up thing is the Ferraris.
The girls
are fighting.
The girls are fighting, but I also want to point out the girls didn't even know that there was tea. The girls thought it was all pit wall being stupid.
Yeah.
They didn't even know it was tea.
That's the thing. Lewis and Charles, they just want to drive. They just want to drive with a half-decent strategy. That's all those boys want.
Exactly.
And somehow, Ferrari's people cannot let these boys be in peace.
They can't. They want them to flop. They want them to struggle. And
but
it's truly
why?
heinous.
Like, what are they actually doing over there?
The thing that annoyed me was you had Charles in front of Lewis.
Yes.
Lewis was burning up his tires, so they let Lewis overtake. But then naturally, it's like they forgot how F1 cars work. Yeah. The person behind will be burning up their tires, probably.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, fuck, now Charles is burning up his tires. Okay, well, we should switch back. You should have never switched. What you needed to do...
they should have switched is as soon as Lewis...
Yes. If you were going to switch, they needed to switch like 4 laps earlier and then stick with it.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't catching. They weren't going to catch him. So I don't know. Like, they should have just let them both chug it along, hold position, save your tires. This is where we're finishing. Like, this was never going to get them ahead. So I don't know why.
Because they finished where?
6th and 7th, if I'm not
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. They did have a beautiful double overtake. Wow. Stunning.
That was really beautiful.
Very hot, very sexy. Loved it.
Over Carlos, right? The former?
Yes. Very hot, very sexy. They overtook... Yeah, Lewis overtook the guy who has a supposedly higher F1 EA Sports rating than him.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Interesting.
Anyways, I wish there weren't tea. I wish the girls weren't fighting. The girls being the Ferrari pit wall and Lewis, because I think that they should have given better strategies so he never has to fight them.
The amount of people that have just like videos dedicated to his radios from this race,
as they should.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
I haven't actually used TikTok since January, except to go like our own podcast's post. So I've actually seen none of the TikTok discourse about these races. Honestly, it's been freeing.
Well, good for you.
From what I've seen, is very positive. So
I'm years deep in this shit.
That's real. But some funny quotes from Lewis, because I think we should honor them before we get to the post race.
Do it.
Is have a tea break while you're at it. When they were like, "Oh, we need to think about it. We need to and when they said, "Oh, hey, Carlos is coming up behind you, BT Dubs," because at this point they've switched back and like their tires are dead. Do you need to let him through too? Great. So great. And this actually transitioned us perfectly into our post-race, in case you couldn't tell from our race commentary. Oscar won, Lando came in second, George came in third.
Go Oski.
Whoop, love it. He's still the championship leader. He has grown his gap, I believe, which we love.
Yes, it's 15 points now.
Yes.
I'm here for an Oscar championship.
Oh, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'd love that.
I'm very much here for an Oscar championship.
But after the race, apparently Fred Vasseur came to Lewis and was like, "Hey guy, I want to talk about, the race radios." And Lewis put his hand on his shoulder and said, "Calm down. Don't be so sensitive." I could have said way worse things.
I love Lewis so much.
I love it. It was really funny. It was
that
great.
Little man.
It was really funny.
That little man.
It was truly iconic. And then my only other post-race thing that I thought was really funny was the McLaren boys. I guess it might have been Lando, Oscar, and George on like a post-race like caravan basically, and they were asking Lando about the race, and he was like, "Well, Max ruined his own race fighting with me, blah 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 blah."
I need them to stop asking Lando questions.
They do need to stop asking Lando questions, because he's in such a pissy mood because he's so self-conscious that I'm like, you either need to get over your pissy mood or you need to like come up with rehearsed questions and stop caring about like interviews. But he says basically like Max ruined his own race trying to fight us, all this stuff. Meanwhile, he's still insisting that they don't have the fastest car. So how could Max have ruined his own race fighting you if you don't have a car so fast that it was pointless to try and fight? Okay. But besides that point, the funny part of the clip is that Oscar overhears Lando talking to the interviewer. And the second he says Max ruined his own race, Oscar looks at him and is like, what's wrong with you? Like, I need to find this clip for you guys if you haven't seen it, because Oscar literally looks at him and is like, what?
Oscar's disappointed to be
and then just like shakes his head and looks back the other way, like in disbelief that he would say this. And I really
love funny. Oscar so much. That boy is so unintentionally funny.
It's so good. But yeah, Oscar's the championship leader. He's extended his championship lead. We all love to see it. Life is good. Yes.
One thing that I don't know if we didn't mention it technically in news, but I think it's kind of like a good point to bring up now towards the end of the race. Or we are at the end of the race notes.
Which is?
I read recently, and I kind of shared it with y'all, that supposedly Max has an out in his contract that he can take, I think basically after the next race, if Red Bull is below second place in the Constructors' Championship. And Red Bull is currently sitting at third.
Oop. With Mercedes hot on their heels.
Mm-hmm.
No, Mercedes is ahead of them.
No, because it's McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull.
Ferrari.
Right. Yeah, Ferrari's 11 points behind Red Bull. So they could not only drop out of top 3, they could drop to number 4. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Fourth, when you have Ferrari
in front of you,
Ferrari, but at least I guess you could say Ferrari has 2 driver scoring points. Red Bull only has 1. So
not too much on my man. Not too much.
Oh, not too much on my man Yuki. I understand, but it's still the truth.
Sure. Anyway,
score points.
We've had a long day.
We have.
He has scored points, so mind your business.
In Miami.
That's not the important part, okay?
Then
it's about time.
All right.
Actually,
freaking frat, calm down.
I'm going to let you live because he scored 1 point in Miami.
Lots of talk.
Thing 1 and thing 2. Let's continue.
Anyway,
thank you.
We're going to wrap it up with a little post segment, as we always do. And because we have just had the conclave finish, and we had a pope announced in extremely quick time, our Pope Leo the 14th?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Pope Leo the 14th. Shout out our boy from Chicago.
What up?
Went to Villanova.
Homie. Got Creole
P-Town.
roots.
Yep. 1/8 black, maybe.
Okay, we got a drop.
And that's all it took back in the day.
All it takes is one drop.
Exactly. Went to Villanova. He's definitely tasted a Wawa hoagie. Let's go.
Not the Wawa hoagie.
We love him. I want to know his Wawa order, and we all know he'll eventually tell us. Okay.
Ooh.
We love it.
I would love that.
So
actually.
Shout out Pope Leo the 14th.
The rest of the world is going to hate America.
Yes. Shout out Pope Leo the 14th.
Or as Charles would say, Leo.
May you carry on Francis's papal humility and social justice. We love you, Pope Leo. Yes. What I was going to bring up is 2 things. Thing number 1, if you got picked for the Pope, what would you choose as your Pope name?
Oh, girl.
Ooh.
Like
what would my papal name
What saint
be?
would you pick as your Pope name?
I would probably choose. Let me look. I'm looking actually.
I know. I'm.
Do you know what I would? That's just such a random thing to say. I don't know because I'm just gonna
say
choose something. What I was going to say is I'm trying to decide if I want to go something that's pretty and cute or go with something that's like obscure and no one's ever chosen, so I can be the first.
I mean, what do you want? I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know yet. I don't know. You go. Or actually, what do you have?
I was going to be Agnes.
Agnes?
Because she's the patron saint of children of Mary and girls.
Aww. That's
I would
so
also be
cute.
Saint Anne, the patron saint of mothers and pregnant women.
Of mothers.
Because they suffer and babies destroy their bodies.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's true. They need a saint. For real.
Okay.
They need it the most.
I am not even sure. I really hate that you asked me this and I didn't get a chance to
I know. I'm just like, I don't know.
Sorry you're not up in your saint knowledge like I am.
Okay.
I'm not Catholic.
Get off it. Hello.
I know you're not. That's why I
went to a whole ass Catholic school and I don't even know.
I have many Catholic friends and a Catholic boyfriend. Well, ex-Catholic boyfriend. But besides the point.
Oh, for a second I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh.
No, that'd be really funny. If Marty was still Catholic, that would actually be really iconic of him.
Why?
But
is he like a cradle Catholic?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't think I can say my opinion on Catholic converts on this podcast, so I'm not going to.
Oh. Wait, so
yes, he is
okay. He was born.
Yes, exactly.
Into the faith.
Wow, okay, so I guess you guys don't have
Saint Felicity.
Saint Felicity.
Why?
What's her name?
No. You went.
I don't know. I don't actually know anything about saints, about these Catholic saints.
I don't either.
You're asking me this question. No, I don't know anything about their patronages. I don't know anything. This is why I'm very upset with you for asking me this question. I don't know anything.
Oh my god!
Not even knowing her patronage. This is crazy.
Oh well.
Oh, Saint Felicity?
Yeah, what's her patronage?
Oh, barren women.
That's good.
I just like their name. I just really, it was more so the name.
Oh, expectant mothers and those experiencing great loss. Okay, cool.
I would be Saint Philomena, the saint of infants, babies, and youths. Give me the children.
And the children of Mary. We're like sister popes.
Give me the children. Give me the babies.
Yeah, we're like sister popes.
Do you know what I changed?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Are you all right?
I actually would be Pope Eves. Yves.
Why?
Patron saint of lawyers.
Of course.
Okay. And
y'all suck.
Okay. Thing number two is obviously, as we know, we're still on the Pope lane. Me and my friends have been very Pope obsessed lately.
Really?
Yes, I follow Pope Crave. Shout out Pope Crave. I love Pope Crave so much.
Are you joining the papacy?
No. Well, I could be a Catholic. Oh, the papacy? No.
You can't.
I'm a woman. But
how dare you have a womb?
Exactly. As we know, Pope Francis came out in his popeness, in his humble white garb, unlike the many popes before and now Leo after him, who came out in the bougie red and gold.
Yes.
If you were announced as Pope,
yes,
what are you coming out in?
Red and gold, stunting on these hoes. What?
Oh my.
Listen, you don't get to be a pope by like living lavish. So while I'm pope, it's going to be a lavish time in my life. You know, so, and I know that goes against everything for what papacy stands for, but I don't care.
My one question would be, when was the last time you had that shit dry cleaned?
Girl, you worry about the wrong things. Like, really.
They probably dry cleaned it right before the conclave, knowing somebody might be wearing it.
I hope so.
I personally, not for the reasons that Beks is, but I would wear the red and gold because I think it is essential to show that you can both honor tradition while also serving the people.
I like that. Look at you being the voice of reason.
I know, it's annoying.
We've raised her right, Beks.
Hashtag AFSA for Pope.
Yeah, okay, well, I don't know we're going to do that. I don't know about all that. Nah, I think we can leave that alone.
Totally could. I could end up in there. You never know. Let Leo make me a cardinal.
Leo.
One thing I've learned through this last week or so about conclave, about papacy, about Catholics is that ain't no woman gonna be Pope. Not
ever.
Lifetime, not ever. Lifetime, because those are the most unprogressive people I've ever heard. They're like, yeah, I don't want a woman. As a woman who is a very liberal, progressive woman, why would I want a female Pope? Those people are standing on writing for tradition to the end.
I mean, yes. Literally, yes.
Anyway, sorry, Brusha.
They would probably burn down the Vatican before they would allow there to be a female Pope.
I said the same thing to people on Twitter that I will say to you now.
Oh, God.
Looking at Catholicism and expecting progression is an insane act. An act that I think should get you thrown in a psych ward.
Like, there's some women out there who are like protesting that women should be included in the conclave.
And they should, but that's not the point.
You're doing it wrong.
That's not the point of Catholicism. It is an aspect that should be incorporated into it, but that's not the function of what it's supposed to do. That's not the function of what it's supposed to do.
I mean, that's not what it's here for.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, it's not fine, but that's not what it's here for. So, being surprised, I think, is an insane act. A desire to change is never an insane act, but the surprise is an insane act. Anyway, listeners, I'm glad that you got to listen to 10 minutes of 3 Protestants talking about Catholicism.
Protestants?
Girl,
Protestants.
I am Baptist.
Girl, I am a... I am a full-blooded heathen. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Felicia aside. Beks, you do understand that Baptists are Protestants, right?
Yeah, I know. Okay. But I need to clarify, I'm Black.
Just making
Baptist,
sure.
Just so that everyone's fully
She said, I need y'all to know I am a Black Southern Baptist.
Just making sure that's right.
I need to differentiate myself from the rest of you Protestants.
And that's very valid. All right, listeners. Well, rate, review, subscribe. At this point that you're going to be hearing this episode, we have Race Week in Italy 1 week from today in Imola. Kimi Antonelli's home race. I would like people to know that
the boy from Bologna.
The last time that we had a Pope named Leo, a Kimi won Imola. So,
a Kimola? Is it gonna be a Kimola?
Just letting y'all know what the T is. But yeah, all right.
I would love to see Kimi win a race. That'd be very cute. That'd be precious. And to win it in his home.
That'd be very adorable, even more so.
The boy from Bologna.
Kimi's documentary on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, I heard it was actually really good.
I ignored it.
Oh,
okay.
Damn.
Well, anyway. All right, listeners, ladies, we'll talk later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.